All right. See you later. All right. Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. It is Thursday, July 20th. Earnings are off to a pretty rough start. Hence the title, Earnings Anxiety with Tesla, currently down by 4.7%, and Netflix down by 6.5% right now. After both their earnings, Netflix ended up coming in at $3.29 earnings per share, $2.82 expected. So they actually ended up beating on their earnings per share. Same thing with Tesla at, I think it was 91 cent earnings per share, 70 cents expected, 69 cents. But both of the stocks dropping right now. Currently have a put for Tesla at the 270 strike price, going for 230 right now. Still waiting on this to keep on coming down. There's a gap to fill down below at 264. Probably going to hold this, thinking probably till the end of the day, maybe into tomorrow morning, just to see if we do get that extra, looks like $13 drop from where we're at right now. Currently at 277. I think Thinkorswim's being a little bit slow on me, but looks like Google is actually doing okay this morning, flat, catching some support at the bottom end of our little range that we got, which is good to see. I have some 124 calls I might end up adding to, since they did drop overnight. Might be a little bit too late to enter that one. But yeah, still seeing Tesla down 4.5, Netflix down 6.5, and Google actually making a little bit of a recovery, squeeze into the upside of this box that we've got up to 123.50. Good morning, Peter. Okay, let's check through the watch list, see where the options are at today. I know Tesla had quite a bit of 280 puts on it. I wonder how those are doing compared to the 270s, obviously dropping since we're not getting much movement first thing in the morning. But those 280s are now in the money. And let's check out the 5-minute 2-day chart. Looks like Google just getting rejected at that 123.50 level, similar to what it did yesterday right before the close. So that could be a resistance for the day. Apple skyrocketing. Yeah, yesterday Apple did really, really well. Not an earnings report, press release where they said that they're going to be ramping up their artificial intelligence efforts. So that ended up skyrocketing their share price. Midday yesterday, that ended up in Google dropping a ton, and Microsoft going back to where it was before. Actually, not back to where it was. A little bit higher than where it was before they had their announcement with Meta. Yeah, pretty flat morning so far. Not doing too much of anything. We are catching some lows on Tesla. It looks like almost close to the after hour lows from yesterday at 275, I think. Let's go to the 5-minute chart so we can see this a little bit clearer. Yeah, right down there at 276.72. Pack W, let's see. At 10 from $9 yesterday, 10%. one of those regional bank ETF, or not a regional bank ETF, but a regional bank stock. Yeah, banks have been doing pretty well for earnings this season. I don't know how PacWest and Western Alliance, all the ones that were on the verge of going to puts, are going to be performing for their earnings, because they're going to have to release their deposits and we'll see if deposits are going up or down at these regional banks, or if they're going and flowing into the larger banks that are perceived to be safer. Netflix still dropping at 440, but Tesla is just kind of chilling right under 280 right now. I think that 280 could maybe be a level for a pivot, since there is a high amount of open interest with that strike price. Let's see. Yeah, the open interest is 36,000 and the surroundings are 6,900 for the 282.5, as well as 6,100 for the 277.5. So volume drops steep on both sides of that. Could be a level that we just kind of trade around for a while before we make our next move too. Google's actually the best performer today. Yesterday it was one of the top 3 worst. So recovering some of what it lost yesterday, which is good. Still wanting to see this outside of this box above 123.50. 124, maybe 125 would be extremely nice. But still far dollar away from that, which is like 1% for Google. Currently up on those contracts about 16%. Does seem to be squeezing pretty nicely. And I think there's a lot of open interest at the 125 strike price. I'm not sure if we'll get there. It's still pretty far away, and there's not a lot of volume coming into this today. There's hardly any puts, though, like literally in the single digits. Oh, that's for the 28th expiration. For this week's expiration, there's a few hundred. And then there's 1,000 at the 123 call, 1,200 at the 125 for volume today. Not familiar with earnings day price movements. How much do big stocks on earnings day usually move? Depends on the stock. Usually Tesla is, a pretty big mover, just because a lot of people trade options on it. The more options that are traded for a given stock, the more that it's likely to make a larger move. So Tesla down 4%. I would say that's a little bit lower than what it would usually be. I would say usually the move would be like 6 to like 8%. Sometimes even more if it's like a really bad report or a really good report. So I'd say this is less than a usual move. Netflix, I would say that's probably about a usual, like 8% or so. Pretty big reaction there, down to 440 at the moment. Google's just kind of chilling at that 123.50 level, right inside of that box right now. Went slightly above it at 123.70. Looks like there's more buyers, especially with the RSI currently at 77, almost 80. Lots of demand for Google right now to keep on pushing to the upside here. I ended up buying these contracts at 78, currently going for 90 cents to $1 each. Not too far from the mark that I'm looking for at 124. just about 20 cents. All right. Contracts are going for 98, 95. Okay. Really wish they had limit orders on. Robinhood would be so much easier to make this trade happen, but that's okay. All right, sold those at 101 just now. Took profits on the Google 124 call at 101. Got a really good exit on that, actually. 102 actually was my exit. So I think I was one of the top sellers for that. But still could catch some support here, go to the next level. Let's see, Tesla's coming down a little bit more, 276 now, actually getting close to the lows from the pre-market or the after hours. We'll see if we crack 275 and below. And we'll check on some other stocks, see if we can get any more new trades going. Go through the options chain, see if there's any signs for stocks coming up or down. Not really much change in the open interest for what I'm seeing on NVIDIA. Just lots of puts versus calls to kind of keep us pushing down. With Tesla falling, that could maybe be kind of a sympathy trade to where we might see it below 460, but I would probably give that a couple weeks to play out. Their earnings, I think, is actually later in the quarter. Let's check. All right, yeah, those Google calls going a little bit higher now at 106, 104. But starting to be a little bit bearish for NVIDIA on the hourly chart. You're looking at 40 for the RSI, so starting to see what you need to in order to kind of start pulling back. Right at that 467 level, which has acted as a resistance before at 470. So we'll see. If that ends up pulling back, we'll check the calls. Between the 470 and the 475 strike price, there's actually not much drop in open interest or volume, so I don't know if you'll get a pivot back to the downside there. Google's still doing hot. Apple still up 0.6. Microsoft even is up by 0.5%, almost 0.6% right now. I'm liking what I'm seeing with the 360 level. If we go back to the downside, there is a pretty decent jump going on right now. Looks like those calls just went really haywire with Google at 124.17. Trying to see if we can find any sort of resistance on Microsoft. There was a little bit of range yesterday morning that we stayed in for the first hour and a half, maybe two. Before that, you do have a resistance up here. All right, so if we take this area, okay, I'd say we probably start at 359, which we're still a couple dollars away from, and go all the way up to maybe 362 from the high yesterday morning, and extend that out to the right couple of days. There we go. This could give us a level to go short at. Again, that 360 level is what I'm looking for. Most of the big tech names in the red besides Google and Apple this morning. And then Microsoft also in the green by half. So we'll add a put on the right side since we're replacing the Google trade. Let's go to 217, 220 for the 355 put isn't too bad. It is Thursday, so I think I would like a little bit extra time for it. Usually Thursday, Friday, I like to give it another week until expiration. You're going to lower your delta value, which does kind of suck. Really don't want to go that far out of the money with a 335. I feel like it's a bit too far for next week's expiration. And they are going to have earnings next week as well, 7:25. So that should be maybe Wednesday or Thursday, I'm guessing. Probably Wednesday. Wow, Netflix is really getting hammered right now, down 8%. Tesla down 4.5%. So really not changing. Kind of bouncing back and forth right now between 275 and 280 at the moment. A little bit more bearish so far this morning, but kind of just chilling in that range, making slightly lower lows in the morning trading, but not cracking below the after hour lows of yesterday at 275.79, just above it so far. Do I branch out into any other EV stocks besides Tesla? Not really, just because Tesla is, the most popular whenever it comes to trading options. So I'd rather, have that ample amount of demand supply to be in and out of my trades a lot quicker than something like Rivian might be traded like half as much, probably less than half as much. So for me, I would rather just trade the stocks that are the most popular. That way the liquidity is there for you. Oh, there goes Google up into the 124.5, the opposite end of that range that I had before. Very nice pop on that. Still trying to find other opportunities here in the market somewhere. Google definitely looks like a good one to the upside. I know that 125 mark is going to be a very popular So if we do end up going above 125, that could end up squeezing pretty damn hard. It is a top performer today, 1.3% so far. But the rest of the market's kind of coming down. Q's is down 0.5%, so you would be chasing that against momentum for everything else. All right, Tesla just went under 276 a little bit. Here we go, testing those lows from the pre-market here. Or the after hours. I think 135 could be a resistance on Amazon, if I remember correct. Yeah, there's a lot of drop in open interest and volume. That's what you like to see. Just need to find the range to short. Might start with the lows from this day. Acted as a support a couple of times. Maybe take the highs, not the extreme highs at 136, but the highs up here at like 135.50. Yeah, somewhere like right here, I think is where we want to short it. So somewhere around 135 and change. Am I bearish or bullish on Tesla? Tesla I'm bearish on. I opened the trade before the earnings report, so right now I'm getting crushed by the IV dropping. Bought these at 340. They're at 160 at the moment. But I still think that there's some more room to the downside. It looks like we're pretty bearish in terms of price action right now for the hourly chart, for the 5-minute chart. I'm liking what I'm seeing. And I'm looking for us to fill the gap in down to 265, 264. In this trade, I'm probably going to close, I'm hoping by the end of the day, tomorrow morning. All right, let's see if we have any other. Yeah, Google looks like it could be a short position to take. Just worried about that 125 level. Let's see. Volume doesn't drop by 50% there, but the open interest drops quite a bit, which is usually what I look for. Let's check the other names if there's any. Amazon getting pretty close to this short level. Meta's in a good short position, I think. It's only down 0.69% right now. Let's see, 310 might be a good trade if it drops that much. Let's see, that's for next week's expirations. It's expensive as hell. 1,100 for that. This week's expiration, you're only paying 140 for the 310. Not too shabby. The lowest that they went yesterday was 90 cents, 96 cents. And it looks like we're clearly getting rejected out of this here. Let me check the volume open interest. Open interest doesn't quite drop 50%. Volume does drop about 75% though. We are catching some support in the bottom end of this range right now. So we'll wait for it to go back up a little bit, maybe to 314. High 314s would be nice. Drop these, maybe one delta, which is, let's see, 30 cents. So get them at 110, hopefully. And that was on Meta. Currently trading at 314. And let's see where we might want to try to exit. I think the bottom end of the range would be fine. If we can get it up there, 30 cents lower. But right now we're trading just at the bottom end of the range, so doesn't seem to be much opportunity in it right now. Yeah, it looks like Amazon and Meta are giving us the closest opportunities right now. Microsoft's still pretty far from that. Google, sharp pullback. Meta's up now and deep. Yeah, Nvidia's trading sideways around 470. Let's check. Pulling back from 470. So yeah, we're seeing more pivots to the downside on the big names so far this morning. Bearish start to the day. Q's down 0.6%. It peaked right at 470.87, so just slightly higher than the 470 mark. Tesla got a new daily low at 275.25, just barely lower, 50 cents. Yeah, I think Meta's given us the best shot. And just don't like the risk reward here. Unless we're able to drop all the way to like 311, 2 delta, and make $60. Yeah. Coming down pretty well. It was right in the middle of the range that we needed and pivoted almost exactly at 315. All right, Tesla into the 275s again and headed lower. See, I'm still liking what I'm seeing on Tesla. It's at 30 on the RSI, so extreme bearishness for both the 5-minute and the hourly chart. Trend is certainly down still. Looks like Netflix is kind of chilling with that 440 level. Microsoft still seems to want to head higher though. Kind of defying what the rest of the market is doing. Looks like that 270 put might get in the money today. Tesla at 274.90. American Airlines stock today. Let's see. AAL. Yeah, they had their earnings too, dropping from 1920 to 1780. Earnings was better than expected, so kind of strange that we're seeing better than expected earnings, but stock's still dropping. Unusual price action, I would say, in reaction to good earnings. Ooh, Amazon. That one was a good short. Meta still kind of just chilling up here. If we expect it to come down to 311, this is a good opportunity. And if we cut losses at like 314, definitely have a lot of a good risk reward ratio. And it's about 50 cents up. And what, $1.50 down. Delta on this is 31, so we lose 15 maybe, or gain 45 from them. Going for 150 each. Okay, I'll place my order in at 150. Leave it as a limit order. No, did not get filled for that. That's okay. Tesla down to 273 now. Dropping pretty quick. Wow. Rough sell-off. DraftKings, not one that I watch too frequent. Yeah, bouncing off of the 30 level and jumping. Let's check the options there. Go to volume open interest. Yeah, the 30 level was very popular for the calls. There's not that many puts at all with these strike prices that we're at right now. 470 for the 30 puts, but like 2,500 for the calls. So that just probably was a nice little squeeze to the upside to keep us above 30, so those calls stay in the money. Alright, looks like we didn't get filled for that 310 put for Meta, unfortunately. Those went from 150 when I was trying to get them. Currently at 175. Microsoft pulling back some here too. So yeah, pretty much everything coming on down. Tesla in the 272s, almost in the 270s, almost below 270, putting that option in the money. Will be real nice to see. $270 could maybe be a pivot too, given the open interest at 36,000, the volume at 43,000. They might want to make sure that those try to stay out of the money. That way people don't get paid. But yeah, definitely a steep drop going on for Tesla right now. Very nice to see. Still pretty far from the mark that I would like it at 264. All right, Google back into the support area. I'm going to cancel the order that I had for the Meta 310 put. Those have already gone up 20 cents. Maybe look into a Google call. We will be betting against the market coming down right now. But let's check. 124 calls next week expiration. We could give it to next week. That way we can hold on to this for maybe another day, in case it doesn't perform too well with the markets coming down today. Currently trading these for 365. The lowest that they went was down at 320 first thing in the morning when we were trading at 122. I think I want to get them for like 350 or under. 340. Maybe even 330 if we're lucky. Or we could go with the next strike price, lower the cost on them anyway. Let's see. The 125s are going for 315, 320. They're actually not too much cheaper than the 124s. Not much difference there. Ideally, we see this at 123 before we open. Right now it's at 123.20. And I would probably want to cut losses under 122, maybe 122.30. Delta for these is 48, so we risk about $50 to the downside right now. They went all the way for 420 this morning. Alright, so we risk 50 to make 75-ish. If we do have just a immediate jerk back up. Alright, they're going for 350 a piece. Try to enter them at 345 if we're able to. No, looks like I'm the new bid at 345. All right, there we go. $7.28 expiration. 345 entry. Alright, let's see where previous resistance was. We could take the middle of the range at like 124. That would be $1 to the upside, $1 to the downside, 1-1 risk reward. Roughly. So we'll create an alert at or above 124. Those would be in the money. Got a really good price on the entry at 345. Lowest entry for that past 5 minutes, which is good. That's what you like to see. Alright, Tesla just chilling at the lows for the past 5 minutes. 272 to 274. Going oversold at as low as 20 on the RSI, but still extreme weakness. Hourly chart is looking the same. So I'm liking the trend here. Liking the trend pretty well. Alright, nice bounce on Google there. Contracts are up $10 there. Not too much just yet. Could find some resistance at 123.40, 123.50. That's where we got rejected right before yesterday's close. So that'll be a mark to watch. All right, Alright, Tesla getting a good bounce at 272. Again to 274. Still in a pretty small range, but moving up a little bit at least. Coming out of oversold. No, I've not taken profits on the Tesla trade yet. Still holding that. Still seeing what I need to on the trend to the downside. This one I'm planning to hold probably till the end of the day or into tomorrow morning. I think that'll be the best timing for it. Yeah. And you would have thought that their stock would have done pretty well for earnings since it was a beat. But tanking pretty well. I mean, my strike price was a little bit too low to take profits on this. I went to 270. So I still have to wait this out. Had I gone with like the 280, I'm sure that like I'd be deep enough in the money to where that would have paid, but maybe I was a little bit too bearish. Again, they did have a beat on their earnings per share. But yeah, these are the 280s. Definitely did well. Definitely paid out if you bought them yesterday. The highest was 650 you were paying for them, and the lowest that they went was 320. So definitely some good buys on the 280s if you got those instead of the 270s. Looks like Google's just kind of chilling around that 123 level, maybe gaining support. But yeah, that definitely did kind of flash to the downside. You're at 80 on the RSI for that pullback. Kind of similar to what we saw here yesterday at 125.50 and dropped. And we went all the way up to 124.70. No, I went with the 270 strike. Oh yeah. Call credit spread would be ideal for that. I was thinking about making a call credit spread under 300. Didn't pull the trigger for it, but that would have paid out really well. Nvidia's coming all the way down to 460 here. Amazon pulling back. Oh man, that meta trade would have worked perfect. All right, Google going back to the break even. Pretty steep drop the last 5 minutes here. Gaining some momentum to the downside, it looks like. Let's see where we got rejected. Just above 123, 123.30 before coming down. Surprisingly, Tesla's just kind of chilling here for the moment at 274. Q's currently down 1.1%. That's pretty big for Q's. Usually this doesn't move like 0.5% or more in either direction, but that's some good downside with these two earnings trades, Tesla and Netflix. Okay. So everything's dropping now. Amazon pretty rough, down 2% without any earnings. Nvidia's down 2% without any earnings. Meta down 1.6, 1.7 almost. Swinging from overbought to oversold there. Same thing with Microsoft and Google, not quite oversold yet, but it did go to 80 on the RSI. All right. I think I've seen what I need from Google. Down to 122.35. We'll cut our losses short at 320. Yeah, there we go. So now every big tech name in the red. Even Apple down 0.1% now. Just need to see Tesla added to that 270 mark. It's getting close to 272 again. Let's move our alert up to 270. If this will load for me. Come on. So slow. Gotta love Thinkorswim on a MacBook. Alright, 270.14 is the closest I got, but that's alright. Doesn't need to be exact. $280 calls gaining some momentum again. Looking at the 270s again, these are the ones that I got. Currently trading at 260 right now. If we go down another $3 to test a 270 level, let's see how much delta these gain. $37 times 3 in delta, $111 from 250 right now. Put them at about 360 a piece. Okay. And it'll probably be a little bit more because the gamma should raise the delta. Put credits for Tesla at 260 for this week. Yeah, I think there could be supports down below us. I think 270 is going to be your first support to look out for, and then 260. I don't know if there's that many puts for the 260 strike. Let me check. Volume and open interest for the 260 is actually higher than the 270. The volume for the 270 is a lot higher, but open interest for the 260 was actually more popular. And there is a decent amount of volume at the 265, 262 and a half, and 260. So you might get a squeeze if you get down to 265, but we're still $7 away from that, which is what, like 3% or so? 7 over 270. Yeah, 2.5%. Looks like Netflix might retest the lows. Lows in at 430.41, currently at 438, so still $8. Like 2% more to drop, so it'd have to be down to 10% today. Ooh, man, Nvidia blowing past 460. Really hard there. Meta almost down to 310. I really wish that we had taken that 310 put. Google blowing past the lows. So yeah, pretty rough day across the markets. Down 1.2%, 1.3% almost for Qs. Earnings anxiety is setting in. All these stocks have been trading at all-time highs. And Tesla and Netflix had good earnings. They beat earnings per share. But still down 6% for Tesla, 8% for Netflix. So if any big tech stock ends up missing their earnings, that could be rough for their stock for sure. Surprised Apple isn't down more, especially after yesterday's huge pop. People are still hopeful on Apple. Trading at 195 right now, but dropping pretty hard after hitting 195. So you might have maybe a decent amount of puts there at the 195 strike to keep us moving, maybe. Yeah, there's actually a decent sign of a squeeze under there. The 192.5s are actually more popular than the 195s. I would still want to buy the 195 puts though. All right, Tesla at 271 now. Nice drop. Hopefully we can get in this Apple trade quick enough. AAPL. Tomorrow's expiration, going for 120 right now. I'll buy a few of them. Thinking 115 entry. Nope, they're going to 120. All right, I'm gonna have a limit order for 115. Going for 121 right now. Going bearish on the RSI 46. It's definitely a nice little pivot to the downside. And again, that 195 level ended up breaking through pretty fast. Kind of similar to what you saw for NVIDIA at 460. Well, looks like we're not going to get filled for that order either. Great. Tried it on Meta, tried it on Apple, did not get filled. Nice. The 275 put on Tesla's up pretty decent. All right, doesn't look like we'll be able to get those Apple puts. 125 strike. Tesla getting closer and closer to that 270 mark that we were needing for the in the money to go in the money on those puts. Puts are going for 325 now. Again, I bought them, I think, at 330, 340. Let me see my positions, open positions. Yeah, currently down $10 on it. So, must have bought them for 340 a piece. Wow, Q's down 1.5% now. Very rough day. How and when to buy a put. So the way that I like to buy either puts or calls is usually based on options and the options chain, looking where you see a decent drop in open interest for call options. Open interest and volume, you want to see a drop, right? So for example, let's check the 195 calls on Apple, see if that would be a place to look. Actually, not really there. Let's see. Google at the 125 level was a prime example. Open interest was 6,100. the 126 strike price had 1,700. So the open interest dropped by roughly 75%. The volume dropped about 50%. So it was likely that Google wouldn't go past the 125 strike price. If it did, then you would see a squeeze to the upside. But yesterday that acted as a resistance. So we had this area here, right, where you would want to buy puts, assuming that it would stay under 125. You would want to cut losses if it went over 125. But ideally, you short it in this zone right here, buy a put, and then obviously right now that would have worked out really well, but I would have probably taken profit, say at the 124 level. But you want to open it in the middle of the range, close it at like the next strike price down or whatever. Really depends on like how you want to exit your trades, but ideally you just want to look for the best risk reward. So you're risking, 50 cents of upside for, let's say, $1.50 of downside. You get 3-to-1 risk reward. So that's how I would play. That's how I usually trade puts or call options too. So if you see drop in open interest for, say, Tesla at the 270 level, right? There's a drop in open interest, really high drop in open interest of 36,000 to 8,000, and then volume drops by about 75% from 85,000 to 20,000 for the next strike price down. So it's likely that Tesla will find some support at the 270 level, maybe recover, up to 272, 274 is where it was trading earlier. So you could buy a call maybe with the 275 strike currently going for 250. Right, they're going for 245, I think. Lowest that they went was 227. Ideally, you want to find a support zone. Right now, I don't have one, but let's go back. See if we can find something here at the 270 level. Okay. So 270 is what we're looking for. We'll try to find some sort of structure. There's really not too much structure in this area. It doesn't look like. All right, I would say. All right, so 268.10 would be where you would probably want to cut your losses. It looks to be. Let me extend this to the right a few days. Okay. Currently trading at 270.35, so they're almost in the money for the 270 puts, which could accelerate to the downside if you're under 270. That's why you have your stop loss at 268 though. Let's see, they're trading for 220, so another 30 cents. Ideally, you want to get it in the middle of the range. Right now, it's at the top, right? So if we go to the 5-minute chart, we'll see this easier. Okay, so the middle of this range right now looks to be probably 269. I got the spinning ball of death. Oh, no fun. Okay. Yeah, so the bottom or the middle of this range looks to be about 269.50. So ideally we try to enter it close to that level, set our stop loss when it's at 268.30, and then try to ride this to maybe 272. So we were risking maybe $1 of downside for $2 of upside. It's right at that 270 level right now. Contracts are up $40 for the puts that I got. do I use a lot of technical analysis? I usually just go based on price levels, support and demand zones. I try to keep it as simple as I can. I don't like to use too many indicators myself. All right, my contracts are going for 400 now. Nice. So this would be the point if you want to buy a call. They're trading for 215. They went as low as 200, I think. Yeah. And it tagged 269.46 before going back to the upside. So now, if you were able to open that quick enough, I know it's very fast, so actually triggering that to make the trade happen would be damn near impossible. But now you'd want to hold it till it's like 272 if you do get that upside, or again, cut losses at 268. I think I'm going to try to put in an order for 200 on those 275 calls. We're right at that 270 mark right now. Now at 270 and a half. So yeah, catching support in this zone right now. So far. I'm not seeing the last comment. That's weird. Let me try to refresh this page. There we go. $278 expiration, so hopefully $265 get it filled. Yeah, I gotta order in at 200 for the 275 calls. Kind of doubtful on getting filled for it, but just putting it out there. When did I open my Tesla trade? So I opened it 2 days ago. I think the day before their earnings, so on Tuesday. At $340. I chose this week's expiration, 7/28. And I bought them again at $345. They're going for $365. So small profit so far. I'm still liking what I see from the price action. I'm not quite liking what I see from, this demand area and that bounce at 269.50. But yeah, we are definitely bearish for the hourly and the 5-minute chart, so the trend is still my friend for right now. But this could be a break of trend with that 270 level being so popular for puts. Yeah, Thinkorswim is a lot easier to execute the trades on. Yeah, I would agree. More suitable for swing trading. Like if you're trying to execute trades on, whenever you're day trading, it's definitely not the best because you have to make decisions in a split second, and just that little swipe feature that they have takes so much time. Active trader, so you can take more control instead of the trade. Let's see, AT. I'm not a big fan of market orders because you can get screwed over with those. But I've also had times where I hit buy to ask and then I miss a trade still just because the execution wasn't instant. All right, canceling my order for the 275 calls right now. If we get back to 269.5, I'll try to re-enter, but that's all the trades for today. Still holding the puts for Tesla at 270 strike price. Trend is still going down, so liking what I'm seeing, and hopefully we can close by the end of the day. And that's all for me, and I'll catch y'all tomorrow at 9:30. See everybody. Can you choose bid ask and hide the trade? I'm not sure. I just have these two buttons, buy the ask, sell the bid. But yeah, catch y'all tomorrow. See everybody.